Okay, so get this. We are diving deep into Algorand today.
Oh, cool.
You've got that white paper right, the
Yeah.
one from securities.io.
Right.
Let's unpack it. What is this whole Algorand thing really all about?
Well, with white papers, they can seem pretty dense, but think of it like this. It's a crash course, really, on Algorand's DNA. And so we're going to sift through all that technical stuff and pull out the insights that really matter.
Perfect. Because I'll be honest, when I see words like Byzantine Agreement, I kind of want to run for the hills.
Yeah.
So before we get into the weeds, can you give us a quick breakdown of what Algorand actually is?
Yeah. So at its core, Algorand is aiming to be the go-to for fast and secure transactions, but in a way that uses resources efficiently. Like they're trying to address the gas guzzler problem that some earlier cryptocurrencies have.
Okay, I am intrigued, but what's this about a gas guzzler problem?
So imagine you were sending a friend some cryptocurrency. With some older systems, the transaction fees can be ridiculously high, especially when the network is congested. It's like paying $100 to ship a postcard. Algorand is designed to avoid that.
Ah, so it's about making cryptocurrency more, I don't know, practical for everyday use.
Yeah,
Kind of like sending that postcard without needing a small loan.
exactly. Algorand wants to be that platform that can handle tons of transactions quickly, cheaply, and without using up a ridiculous amount of energy.
Gotcha. So how does it actually do that? I'm guessing this is where our white paper deep dive comes in.
Yeah, you got it. Let's crack open this white paper and see what makes Algorand tick.
One thing that immediately jumped out at me was their approach to security and consensus. They call it pure proof of stake. Pure proof of stake. Sounds intriguing, but I have a feeling it's more complicated than it sounds. Break it down for me.
Okay, so it's all about how they make sure everyone agrees on which transactions are legit. Okay, imagine a lottery where your chance of winning is based on how much cryptocurrency you hold. The more you have, the more likely you are to be chosen to validate transactions and then add them to the blockchain.
Interesting. So it's not just about having the fastest computer to solve complex puzzles like with some other cryptocurrencies.
Exactly. With Algorand's pure proof of stake, it's more about having skin in the game. So the more you hold, the more invested you are in keeping things running smoothly and securely.
Makes sense. If you're a major stakeholder, you're not going to want to jeopardize the entire system. So this pure proof of stake, that's one of the key takeaways from the white paper so far. What else makes Algorand unique, according to this document?
Well, the white paper seems to really emphasize how Algorand can be applied to like various industries. They're not just focused on the financial sector, although that's obviously a big one. They're talking about supply chain management, transparent voting systems, even things like digital identity.
Wow, so it's kind of like Algorand is trying to build a whole new digital infrastructure for all sorts of transactions, not just money.
Exactly. Think of it like this. The internet revolutionized how we share information. Algorand wants to do the same for value, whether that's money, goods, or even data.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. Now, we've been throwing around the term blockchain
Yeah.
a lot. I think most people have a general idea of what it is, but for those who might not, can you give us a quick blockchain 101?
Sure, yeah. Imagine a digital ledger that keeps track of every single Algorand transaction ever made. This ledger is copied across a massive network of computers, so there's no single point of failure. That's the blockchain.
So it's like a giant tamper-proof record book.
Exactly. And because it's decentralized, no one entity controls it. It's incredibly secure and transparent. Anyone can view the transaction history, which builds trust in the system.
Got it. Okay, we've covered what Algorand is. We've touched upon pure proof of stake, and we've kind of dipped our toes into the blockchain. Now, I'm curious about one more thing before we move on. This white paper we're looking at, it's from a site called securities.io, right?
Yeah.
What's the deal with them?
Securities.io. They're like a one-stop shop for financial information. They cover everything from stocks and bonds to cryptocurrency and, well, securities.
So they're not just focused on Algorand.
No, they cover a wide range of financial topics, from what I understand. They aim to educate people on different investment opportunities and emerging technologies.
Interesting. It sounds like they're trying to make the world of finance more accessible, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got Algorand, we've got blockchain technology, and we've got securities.io. Are we ready to go deeper into this Algorand universe?
Let's do it. Yeah. There's still so much more to uncover in this white paper. We'll dive into the nitty-gritty of their technology, how they address scalability issues, and why that matters in the grand scheme of things.
All right. Buckle up, listeners. Things are about to get really interesting. All right, so We are back in the thick of it with this Algorand white paper. We've got a good grasp of the basics, but I am ready to see how deep this rabbit hole goes.
Well, hold on to your hat because this white paper, it dives headfirst into some really fascinating technical details.
Like,
One thing that really stood out to me was their focus on scalability.
okay.
They even call their solution borderless scalability.
Okay, borderless scalability sounds impressive. But what is the big deal with scalability anyway? Why does it matter so much?
Well, think about it like this. If a cryptocurrency wants to be used for everyday transactions like, buying coffee, sending money overseas, whatever, it needs to be able to handle a massive amount of transactions all at once
Right.
without slowing to a crawl.
Right, I've heard about those issues with some earlier cryptocurrencies, like trying to pay for a pizza with Bitcoin and then waiting like hours for it to go through.
Exactly. That's why scalability is such a big deal. And Algorand seems to be tackling this head on. Their pure proof of stake consensus mechanism, which we talked about earlier, is a big part of that. It's designed for speed and efficiency, even when the network is slammed with transactions.
So it's like having a super highway for transactions instead of a traffic jam side street.
Perfect analogy. But it's not just about speed, it's also about handling growth. They're designing Algorand to be able to accommodate millions, even billions of users without, like, breaking a sweat.
That's some serious forward thinking. Okay, so they've cracked the code on scalability. What else is in this white paper that's got you excited?
Well, remember how we talked about Algorand's potential to revolutionize things like supply chain management?
Yeah, the whole like tracing your coffee beans from farm to cup thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around that one.
Right. Well, the white paper actually lays out a pretty compelling case study for this.
Okay.
They call it ALGO trace, and it's all about using Algorand's blockchain to create a transparent and secure system for tracking products as they move through the supply chain.
Okay, walk me through it. How would that actually work?
Imagine each stage in the supply chain, from the raw materials to the manufacturer, the distributor, all the way to the retailer.
Uh,
Each of those is like a digital record on Algorand's blockchain. Each time a product changes hands, that transaction is recorded, creating a permanent and tamper-proof history.
So you could literally track a product's journey every step of the way.
Exactly. And this can be huge for things like verifying the authenticity of products, reducing fraud, and even ensuring ethical sourcing practices.
I'm starting to see how this goes way beyond just the world of finance. It's like Algorand is trying to build a new foundation for trust and transparency in all sorts of
You're
industries.
getting it. And that's what I find so exciting about like this deep dive. We're not just looking at a new cryptocurrency. We're looking at a potential paradigm shift in how we think about value, trust, and transparency in the digital age.
It's like we're witnessing the early days of something that could be truly revolutionary. Okay, so we've talked about scalability, supply chain applications. What else did you pick up from this Algorand white paper?
One thing that stood out to me was their emphasis on what they call smart contracts.
Smart contracts. I've
Yeah.
heard that term before, but I'll admit it's a bit fuzzy. Can you like refresh my memory?
Yeah, so think of a smart contract as a self-executing digital agreement. It's basically code that automatically enforces the terms of a contract when certain conditions are met.
Interesting. So instead of needing a lawyer to like draft up a contract and then another one to enforce it, you could have all of that automated on the blockchain.
Exactly. And because smart contracts are stored on the blockchain, they're tamper-proof and transparent, which can be a game changer for all sorts of agreements and transactions.
All right, so how does Algorand fit into all of this?
Well, Algorand's platform is designed to make it super easy to create and deploy smart contracts.
Okay.
They even have their own programming language specifically for this purpose.
Interesting. So they're not just providing the infrastructure. They're giving developers the tools they need to build on top of it.
Exactly. They're trying to create a whole ecosystem around this technology.
Okay. I am starting to get a sense of just how ambitious Algorand's vision really is.
And we haven't even touched on their work with decentralized finance, or DeFi for short, but I think we might need to save that for another deep dive.
Another deep dive. You read my mind. All right, listeners, it looks like we're going to need to add DeFi to our list of things to explore in the Algorand universe.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we have journeyed through the Algorand white paper. And I have to say, I feel like we have uncovered some serious gold.
Yeah, absolutely.
But before we wrap up, I want to make sure we solidify those key takeaways. The stuff that will really stick with our listeners.
Yeah, for sure. Let's crystallize it. First off, remember how Algorand is all about pure proof of stake? That's not just a fancy term, you know?
Right.
It's their secret sauce for speed and scalability.
Right, like they figured out a way to make cryptocurrency actually practical for everyday use
Yeah.
and not something that you have to wait like hours for a transaction to go through.
Exactly. And beyond just the tech itself, what's really exciting is how they're envisioning its application. From, revolutionizing supply chains to building the foundation for a more transparent and secure digital future.
Yeah, the possibilities really do seem kind of endless.
Yeah.
But I also have to admit, diving into this world can feel, I don't know, a bit overwhelming at times.
Yeah.
There's so much to learn,
Yeah.
so much to wrap your head around.
I hear you. It's a steep learning curve for sure, but that's the beauty of a deep dive like this. We
Yeah.
get to break down these like complex topics into, digestible pieces.
Exactly. So for those feeling ready to continue their Algorand exploration, what would you say is the most important thing to keep in mind?
For me, it's about understanding that Algorand isn't just about making money. It's about changing the rules of the game. It's about creating a more equitable and efficient system for everyone.
That's a really powerful thought to leave us with. So as we resurface from this deep dive into Algorand, I want to thank you so much for being our guide. You've given us a lot to think about, and I have a feeling this is just the beginning of our Algorand journey.
It's been my pleasure. And remember, this is a constantly evolving space, so keep your eyes peeled, your ears open, and never stop asking questions.
Words to live by. And to our amazing listeners, thank you for joining us on this incredible journey into the world of Algorand. We'll be back soon with a brand new topic and a whole new set of fascinating insights to uncover. Until then, keep those brains buzzing.